All right, I need a host for tonight.
Levy, you're on.
I got it. No problem.
The man whose favorite player is Kelly Olynyk gets to do the honors.
Hey, what happened? Anyway, you ready to go? Yeah.
Yeah, kick it off.
Okay. You're listening to a Game 7 edition of the Celtics Roundtable, powered by CLNS Radio. I'm Jonathan Levy. I'm joined by the brothers Ignal, Matthew and Jonathan, as well as Evan Valenti. Boy, oh boy, we are in high spirits. The Celtics just beat the Washington Wizards in Game 7. That puppy is over. It is in the fridge. The door is closed. A 115-105 victory for the Celtics. Oh, it feels so good. We're going to relish this moment together because, you know, the conference finals loom and they don't seem as promising. We're going to enjoy tonight. It's a great night. Jonathan Ignal, what stands out to you the most about this win?
I can't believe I'm saying this, but Mr. Kelly Olynyk, 28 minutes, 26 points, 10 for 14 from the field. Who would have thought that Kelly Olynyk would have 14 points in the fourth and propel the Celtics to victory? It wasn't just Kelly. The bench was incredible. I think they had 48 points and only one turnover. I can't believe I'm saying that Kelly Olynyk was a joy to watch. I don't think I've ever laughed while a player goes on a run, but I was cracking up the whole time Kelly was draining threes. So just a great night, a great spectacle, Kelly Olynyk dominating.
Hey, was that the first time anyone's heard the crowd chanting Kelly?
Well, for Kelly Olynyk, probably, yeah. They were doing that to Oubre the other day. But for me, like, you know, it takes a village here. There's so many different performances we're going to talk about probably throughout this entire podcast. But right now, the mayor of the village is currently Kelly Olynyk. You know, not to toot my own horn here, but I sort of saw this coming, not like this type of explosion, but in terms of him having a big game, an impactful game, I thought this was going to happen. He's a fit. I talked about it on our podcast yesterday, Matthew, that Kelly Olynyk is a much better shooter at the TD Garden, and that percentage is significant. Like, he's 15% from three-point range on the road to the playoffs this year, 50 from three-point range at home during the entire playoffs. I know he was only 2 of 6, but those were good looks towards the end. He was aggressive all the way from pretty much the second half on. I loved how he played. The first half he was good. The second half he was unconscious.
Well, for anybody who's keeping score, he did have the man bun tonight.
The GOAT.
The bench was really fantastic all night long. Kelly Olynyk was spectacular and seemed to flick a switch that we've never seen flick before, where it's the "I'm Kelly Olynyk, get out of my way" move, you know, thing, which I've never seen him have, and maybe he's figured that out. That would be incredible. The thing about Kelly is, you know, they start booing him on the road, and he like seems to lose his mind and starts throwing up air balls and turning the ball over, and it's horrible.
So if you just chant his name, then he does the complete opposite.
I don't know. So I'm really curious to see, is this something he's actually internalized, or is this something he can only do at home? Because if you can only do it at home, I mean, they only have to win 4 games in the next round. You know, they can just win the 4 home games, and Kelly can just dominate. That can work. But other guys also contributed tremendously on the bench. Marcus Smart, another fantastic outing, 30 minutes. He shot the ball well. 2 for 2 from three-point range, including one ridiculous, I'm not even looking at the hoop. I'll throw it up. Hey, it went in. That was amazing. Jaylen Brown, I thought, gave the Celtics a fantastic 20 minutes. Hit his first shot, which was a 3. Hit an awesome alley-oop reverse layup. Played very well defensively.
Marcus Smart, a lot of big clutch rebounds, both on the offensive end, the defensive end. I mean, when you have a line of 14, 6, and 4, it might not jump off the page at you sometimes, but a lot of those rebounds were in a lot of traffic. He just continues to have his fingerprints all over the game, tied with Al Horford for plus-minus the game, plus 14. And when you really watch the game, you're not really shocked that he led the team in that.
Yeah, one of the key stretches in the game, you know, third quarter, fourth quarter, you saw Avery Bradley and Marcus Smart really turn up as the Wizards were getting more and more exhausted. And, you know, the Wizards defense just kind of went to hell in the second half. Boston put up 32 in the third and then 30 in the fourth. Whereas, you know, the Wizards probably wouldn't have scored that much if Bradley Beal just didn't get red hot late in the game. Crucial difference there is that Brad Stevens was able to keep the Celtics' best players, their minutes low, and the Washington Wizards lacked the bench to have the luxury of doing that. And a lot of people are going to focus, you know, John Wall missed his last 10 shots. I think, Evan, you brought up the stat that, like, in the last 19 minutes or something, he didn't score. Do I have that right?
Yeah, he was 0 of 11 from the field, and I believe 0 of 7 from three-point range, but let me just make sure that's the case. But he was, scoreless the last 19 minutes.
And sometimes he played 44 minutes, and he plays really hard, and some days you just don't have a full tank of gas, and he clearly was running on empty at the end. He was basically like walking around towards the end. The Celtics were smart, having Isaiah run a lot off ball, just running him through screen after screen. I think Brad Stevens recognized this.
I mean, this series was just a war. The home team won every game, but man, oh man, it felt like the Celtics really were only comfortably in command of one game in the whole series, and that was, Game 5, where they just had it. But besides that, the Wizards had double-digit leads in most of the games, the first 4 games anyway, and Game 6 as well. But ultimately, the little things made a big difference. So Brad Stevens although it felt like he was constantly tinkering with his rotation, trying different guys out. Gerald Green got 2 starts and yet also got a DMP in this game. I mean, that's weird, right? But ultimately, the Celtics were pushing small edges left and right. They would call timeouts and get a playoff at the end of a quarter and things like that when just other teams don't do that when there's 0.8 seconds left. They'd be able to hide Isaiah on defense in ways that were sort of unexpected, and ultimately those little things seemed to make a difference over the course of 7 games.
Let me channel my inner Black Trey and say shout out Isaiah Thomas, 29 points, 12 assists. The Wizards loaded up on him all series, didn't allow him to get into a rhythm. I'm not entirely sure how effective it was since the Celtics still put up a ton of points pretty much every game, but the 12 assists stands out to me. Brad Stevens wanted the Celtics to do more cutting off the ball with the Wizards' pressure on Isaiah Thomas, and Boston was able to get a lot of easy looks once again. And perhaps the key stretch of the game was when the Celtics were down 3, and he hit 2 straight threes, and Marcus Smart added a third, which really put the Celtics up for good. So shout out Isaiah Thomas.
Celtics had been shooting more threes than anybody else in the playoffs, but this game they only took 26, which for them is a really small number. Probably the least amount of threes they've taken the entire playoffs. But they dominated in the paint, as you guys are saying. They got great looks over and over, 1 million layups, 1 million easy shots. Even the shots they missed were like usually open 17-footers, things like that.
Jay Crowder fade away for no reason.
Yeah. That's right, the Jay Crowder stuff, man. But ultimately, this is something that we could see coming, right? I mean, we knew the Wizards were not a great defensive team. We thought there was going to be a lot of points scored. The Celtics were just highly, highly efficient in this Game 7, which you love to see.
Yeah, I mean, they put so much pressure on Isaiah. It just allowed guys like Kelly Olynyk, Avery Bradley to slip backdoor behind John Wall, who's capable of falling asleep quite often back there. Just too many open layups given up by the Wizards. They're not a good defense. They played well at home, but this is what happens when you're going to put that much attention on Isaiah Thomas.
If we're going to do shots to Isaiah Thomas, we're going to do shots to Bradley Beal. He was unbelievable. Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, I thought he was going to single-handedly bring him back in the game.
Evan, what was your panic meter when the Wizards went on that 7-0 run to cut the lead from 13-6 in the middle of the fourth?
I just wanted a good look at the basket immediately after that timeout. I thought Brad did a good job calling the timeout immediately. It's like, we're not fooling around with this. And I didn't care if the shot went in. I just wanted a good shot.
They got a great one.
Yeah, was that the smart post up?
Yeah, it was the smart deep post. Yeah.
Is that a great shot these days?
Yes.
Yes.
He was a foot from the basket.
Man, Marcus Smart had a hell of a game. He really made his imprint, but Marcus Smart has really struggled in the post this postseason.
It's still a good shot. I'd rather
for
get
him,
a shot a foot away from the rim than a Marcus Smart 3 in the corner.
Hey, one thing I do want to say, so the Celtics were up 9 with a minute to go and Washington had the ball. The game was in hand. It was going to basically take a collapse of historical proportions at that point for the Celtics to lose. And Washington was inbounding the ball at half court to Bradley Beal, and Marcus just fouled them when they were in the bonus and gave them 2 points with no time coming off the clock. That was shocking to me that Marcus would make that play when all you have to do is play defense and let a little time go off the clock. That's good enough. And instead he sort of made the wrong play. It didn't end up costing him in this game, but I don't understand how that could have happened. That seemed like they were just coming out of a timeout. You'd think first, Smart is a really smart guy and a good defensive player, and yet made a really dumb play at an inopportune time.
Yeah, it lowered the Celtics win probability I'm seeing here from 100.0 to 99.8.
Hey, man, you go from certainty to not certainty. Come on. It's playoff season, and having the right players on the court is the key to success. That sharp outside shooter, power rebounder, perhaps Gordon Hayward, can be the difference between winning and losing. And business isn't any different. Your company needs the right people to be the best. So where do you find the top talent? It's at ZipRecruiter.com. You can post your job to 100-plus job sites with one click. Their powerful technology efficiently matches the right people to your position. And right now, listeners can start forming their own winning team on ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/sportsfan. That's ZipRecruiter.com/sportsfan. Try it for free today at ZipRecruiter.com/sportsfan.
Hey, I'd like to change subjects here for just a second. Can we talk a little bit about, I don't know, I guess the meaning of the Celtics getting to the Eastern Conference Finals and all the implications of it? Evan and I talked a little bit about how we thought that, if the Celtics are chasing a big free agent, maybe losing Game 7 on your home floor could be sort of like a bad look. But for the Celtics to pull out and get to the Eastern Conference Finals, you could make the argument that they're, just one dynamic offensive player away from being at least a low-level contender.
What are they right now, then? If they're not a low-level contender, they're like a LeBron injury or an injury on the Cavs away to being a contender. I think they're already that. I think if they add somebody else, they're definitely better than a low-level contender. But yeah, this is a huge win. I think as you now have you stockpile the ammunition, and everybody tonight's like, it's astounding. I think Howard Beck said it, that it's astounding that the Celtics have gone from blowing it up 4 years ago to the Eastern Conference Finals as quickly. And everybody reminding Doc Rivers tonight that Brad Stevens has made an Eastern Conference Finals before Doc Rivers has, but again, Doc has had a significantly tougher road to get there. But Boston, in terms of their rebuild, has aced every single step, and this is like maybe the final hurdle to climb here. But this is a spectacular win for Danny Ainge in the ammunition to go out and go free agent hunting when he has the time to do so. This is great.
This has been a best-case scenario season so far for the Celtics. They won 53 games. They got the number 1 seed. They have the top seed in the lottery tomorrow night. They just made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. You couldn't really ask for this team to deliver any more than they have. To me, they're not a low-level contender right now. They're a high-level pretender, along with the Raptors and along with the Wizards. But if you add a Gordon Hayward, who I agree with you guys, is much more likely to join, or Blake Griffin potentially if he's healthy, much more likely to join a team that gets this far, and the number 1 overall pick or a top 3 pick, they could become a low-level contender super fast. This team has just been so exciting to watch, from the teardown till now, all the young players getting better, Ainge constantly flipping assets and flipping pieces, always trying to win trades, and just, he's won enough of them that, man, oh man, they are in this incredible spot. Without this year, they're going to the Eastern Conference Finals as the number 1 seed without having given up any significant assets and trades this year. So they got everything still. So that means next year, they can make deals, or they can just draft a Markelle Fultz. It's an incredible spot to be in. You almost never see a team do this. This is like the 4th time ever a team is going to get to their conference finals and also pick in the top 4, I think. I mean, it's an extraordinary place to be, and Ainge has done this.
Shout out Darko.
Former Celtic great.
Shout out Limp Bias.
Oh, jeez.
That got dark.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, that was weird. It's all good.
Whatever. All right, do we want to wrap this? Should we wrap this one up and then are we just going to do another one, like a preview or a lottery thing or something?
I don't know.
Should we just touch on the lottery?
Wrap this one up, and we'll see what people think. I could air too.
Okay, cool. All right, just wondering. All right, I'll wrap this one up and we'll do whatever. That is going to do it for this celebratory Game 7 victorious podcast. We're really looking forward to talking about the lottery, all the things that are coming up, the next series against the Cavs. Make sure you follow all of it by subscribing to the Boston Celtics news feed. That's how you keep track of the Roundtable. Of course, we're also on Twitter. We are at CLNS Roundtable. Makes sense, right? Give us a 5-star review on iTunes if you're feeling up to it, if you're loving the show. And we'll see you after the lottery drawing. I'm hoping for number 1. I'm believing. Why not? It's going to happen. I don't know. I'm Jonathan Levy. Thanks again to Evan Valenti, Jonathan Ignal, and Matthew Ignal. We'll see you next time on Celtics Roundtable.